See.
When you hear this,
they've got him again!
And this,
Backhand, he scores!
And this,
oh boy, what a move by Embiid!
You think of us. We are sports. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a town square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Monday edition of Game Night. Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on 97.3 ESPN. As it was an interesting weekend in the local area. The Phillies obviously bang around with the Rockies, get a couple wins over the weekend. Sixers sweep the whole thing out. And, of course, the NFL draft. The countdown is on this Thursday. Of course, you can hear the entire NFL draft right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins Thursday night at 7 p.m. Tonight, we're going to get into as much as we can here on the Power Hour known as Game Night. And we will be joined by entrepreneur and former Rutgers football player. You know his story, Eric LeGrand. He was paralyzed a decade ago, and now he's trying to raise awareness and money for those who also have been through what he has been through, trying to do something for the less fortunate. And we'll tell you how he is doing that coming up in less than 20 minutes from now. As always, you can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. That is the text board. You can also DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. I want to start with the Sixers because, to me, they have already made the first move on the Celtics. I am looking at the Celtics series as and we expect it to be the Celtics. I'll tell you a little bit more why I'm making that presumption in just a few minutes. But they made the first chess move by sweeping the Nets. The Celtics, no matter what, have one more game with the Hawks tomorrow night at minimum. By the 76ers going out there and taking care of business against the Nets, taking away their will, winning that game on Saturday, they made the first chess move by getting themselves more rest and more time to recuperate than the Celtics. Now, the Celtics don't have the amount of issues and problems with their superstar players that the Sixers do, specifically Joel Embiid and this sprained LCL ligament that he has in his knee. But when you look at the bigger picture, Embiid, more time to get healthy, that's a plus. More time for Harden to get rest, that's a plus. The Sixers taking the confidence that they have gained from that series and parlaying it into the next series, that's a plus. And on top of all of those things, we saw in the last round that the Sixers have a bench and they can rely on them in certain situations. As I told Mike Gill earlier on the Sports Bash today on 97.3 ESPN, earlier I said, I think Paul Reed is at a whole new high of confidence. I think that Maxey is at a whole new high of confidence. I think that the Sixers know that between Reed and DeAnthony Melton, they have two guys they can rely on off the bench. And I don't know what Niang's role is going to be in the next series, but I got a feeling he'll probably get some more minutes than he got in the Nets series. So, to me, I look at this as a win-win. Now, I mentioned why I'm assuming the Celtics are going to win the series. It's because the news came out today that DeJounte Murray, the Hawks, arguably their second best player, he will be out, suspended for tomorrow night's game. Without him, it's hard to see a way for the Hawks to win unless something crazy happens. So I'm not saying it's a 0% chance, but I'll say that it's a 5% chance the Hawks have the win. And I think that's low enough and poor enough odds for us to really look at. So the presumption is, according to different reports, that if the Sixers play the Celtics in the series is ended tomorrow night in Game 5 for the Celtics and Hawks. Excuse me, that Game 1 for the Sixers and Celtics would start on Saturday. So that means the Sixers would have an entire week off. It's just like going into the first round of the playoffs. They had an entire week off with the play-in round. Now they get an entire week off for the second round. This is setting up as well as can be expected for the 76ers. This is best case scenario for them. And aside from Embiid's questionable knee, which, let's be realistic, how many injuries has Embiid played through in his career? Probably all of them at some point. So, look, Joel, I'm not as worried about Joel until I see him on the court limping. I get the feeling that if he plays on Saturday, he will be fine. He will be good to go. Now, how do the Celtics Sixers match up? We'll break that down a little bit later this week. But that's the latest on the Sixers and the NBA playoffs. Speaking of the NBA playoffs, we saw this weekend that the Lakers and the Warriors charged back in their series to really make a statement. And it shows you that the NBA playoffs are really about the players on the court and not the coaches. And now with the Aaron Fox with the broken tip of his shooting hand, and De'Aaron Fox has a broken bone in the tip of his shooting finger, basically meaning that he can't bend his finger on the basketball properly moving forward. He's going to get a special cast on it. They're hoping that he can play with it on. But I'm telling you right now, I don't know how that's going to help the Kings' case. And for the Lakers, they came out and punched the Grizzlies in the mouth. So we're going to see a lot of NBA playoff series going on later this week. And the Sixers will be sitting at home, relaxing, and enjoying it just like you and I. Josh Hennig here on GameNight 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Now, on top of all of that, we also have to talk about the Phillies. The Phillies did something that is pretty appropriate for them. They went out and beat up on an average team. Now, I know historically that is not who they are. But Gabe Kapler is not walking through that door. And you could argue that the Phillies, after starting the season in an absolute tailspin, basically from April 14th to this past Sunday, they've won 7 out of their last 10 games. And I think it's a sign that this team is finding themselves. Look, the Chicago White Sox are a very good baseball team. So getting 2 out of 3 against them is no small feat. That's a lot of talent over there. And the Rockies still have a formidable offense. And now you get a day off as you prepare for a very good Seattle Mariners team. And I am envious of anyone who's going to that Mariners series because you get to see one of the best young players in baseball, Julio Rodriguez, out there, it looks like. So that's exciting. If you can get 2 out of 3 against Seattle, it makes you feel a little different about this team as they hit the road to play Houston in the World Series rematch next weekend. So to me, I think the Phillies, you have to give them credit for 2 things. One, their offense is finally starting to come around. They have scored at least 4 runs in every game since April 14th they've won. In all the games they've lost, they've scored 0 runs. That tells me that when this offense is going, they're hard to stop. It also tells you how good their pitching is because they lost 3-0 to the White Sox and 5-0 to the Rockies. So basically, as long as their offense shows up, they can win games. When their offense shows up, they're probably winning. And really, that's what it comes down to for the Phillies. The Phillies are not going to be a winning baseball team with just their pitching. Is their pitching improved? Yes. Has Matt Strahm been absolutely incredible? Way above anybody's expectations. It really makes you wonder, what do they do when Ranger Suarez is ready to go? Who do they kick to the bullpen? Do they kick Strahm to the bullpen? Do they keep Falter in the starting rotation? It's an interesting question. Do they go to a six-man rotation? Do they go really crazy and say, you know what? We don't want to take any of these guys out of the rotation, or they're all going to pitch. It's an interesting conundrum to be in, the way Strahm is pitched. And furthermore, when you look at their next few weeks, everyone's going to be pining for Bryce Harper to come back. I still think that May 5th is a little early for him to come back, but listen, Harper and the doctors know better than I do. I'm not in those rooms and those conversations, but there is speculation still that Harper could return on May 5th. And that means that the Phillies, they got a gauntlet coming up, because after Seattle for the next 3 games, they hit the road against the Astros, then they hit the road against the Dodgers. And in the Dodgers series, you're scheduled to see Julio Urias. So you know that you got an uphill battle on the road. By the way, for the Astros, next weekend, Valdez, Javier, back-to-back days. Have fun with that. So don't be discouraged if the Phillies don't win all these games. Be encouraged that they won 7 out of 10, and they're finding themselves slowly but surely. And before we hit the break, we got Eric LeGrand joining us coming up in about 7 minutes from now here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN and 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle. I did want to hit on the draft real quick, because with the draft coming up this Saturday, there is a change in the draft. And that change is the fact that Aaron Rodgers was finally traded today, in a trade that I think, frankly, is a bad trade by the Jets. I thought they gave up way too much for Aaron Rodgers in a draft that they didn't have to give all that up. So now you have a situation where the Packers move up 2 spots. Could the Packers or the Jets still make some moves before we get out of here in this draft? Look, the Packers have plenty of ammunition now thanks to the Jets trade. They got an extra second-round pick. They move up from 15 to 13. So the Packers at 13, they have a lot of needs. Could they be the disruptor that we have been talking about in this draft? Because we know that the Panthers trade up to number 1 because they wanted their shot at their quarterback. After the first overall pick, it's anybody's guess what happens. There is speculation the Cardinals could trade their pick. And how does that trade factor in with Budda Baker wanting out of town and DeAndre Hopkins basically in limbo out there in Arizona? Do the Colts stay at 4, or do they trade out? What about the Lions? The Lions get the 6th overall pick. Can they recoup more picks and move down? The Raiders, they need a lot. The Bears, they need a lot. And that's all before the Eagles. There's a possibility that a lot of our speculation about who could be available at 10 may change, because if the Packers or the Jets, especially the Packers, use all that ammunition they just got to move up ahead of the Eagles in the draft, probably not for a quarterback. Something to think about as we get ready for draft night, just days away. Coming up next, we'll talk with former Rutgers defensive lineman and now entrepreneur Eric LeGrand with me, Josh Hennig, on Game Night, the Power Hour here on 97.3 ESPN.
It's the 2023 NFL Draft exclusively on 97.3 ESPN. The Philadelphia Eagles have 2 picks in the first round in this year's NFL Draft, and you can listen to see how it all plays out. Round 1 coverage begins this Thursday at 7 p.m. It's the 2023 NFL Draft, and it's only on South Jersey's exclusive radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. 97.3 ESPN.
Your next BMW is closer than you think at BMW of Atlantic City. Take advantage of limited time offers on our entire lineup of new BMW models, like a new 2023 BMW X3 xDrive 30i lease for $599 a month for 36 months. Looking to trade? We'll pay top dollar for your vehicle. Visit BMW of Atlantic City, closer than you think, located in Egg Harbor Township and online at bmwatlanticcity.com. For more details, call us toll-free at 609-316-2393.
You've never had anything like Kentucky Fried Chicken's new chicken nuggets. They're so good, you'll hear a random choir singing every time you open the box. Don't believe me? Just listen. Box open.
KFC, chicken nuggets, KFC.
Box close. Open.
Original recipe and very KFC.
Close. Can we get a remix? Order KFC's new chicken nuggets on the KFC app today. That's finger looking good. Price may vary.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Pennzoil Platinum can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $37.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Yes, we do have availability. Those dates for how many guests?
Andrea's Boutique Hotel is the destination to tie the knot.
Oh, you want the whole property?
She needs an assistant to catch the bookings bouquets.
249 guests, huh? Oh, and 3 dogs.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Progressive covers pets in our auto policy at no extra charge. Now let's see what your dog has to say.
As a dog, I think Progressive's auto pet policy is... Oh, what is that? That's just my tail. Weird. Anyway, Progressive protects... There it is again. See? This is why I need protection. I'm so distracted. Nope, that is still my tail.
Progressive Auto Insurance covers pets for up to $1,000 in a car accident at no extra charge. And we think your dog would say that's great too. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
When you hear it's Spring Black Friday at the Home Depot and Ryobi 40-volt expanded cordless string trimmers are just $179, what are you driven to do? Clear out winter's overgrowth? Clean up the driveway lines? Or take a lighter touch around the flower beds? Hurry into the Home Depot during Spring Black Friday to get more done with the extended runtime and precision control of the Ryobi 40-volt expanded cordless string trimmer. Now just $179. Shop Spring Black Friday savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Hello there. My name is Seychelle, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is the punch of flavors, but unlike any other. You get the crispy tenderness of the chicken and that hint of sourness from the pickles. Ta-da!
Hey, I'm Juan, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is you're going to get chicken that's crispy, golden, and juicy. This is the gold standard of chicken sandwiches.
Order the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customers paid for their testimonials.
Every piece of land has a story. For the Caggianos, it's keeping their yard pristine with a John Deere Z530MC track mower, because it's not just a yard, it's a gathering place.
Work and play kind of meld together for us.
They run a brewery, harvest their own hops, and keep things tidy for their guests.
People say, what are you? Are you a farmer or a brewer? So I say, I'm a farmer brewer.
When you love what you do, it's not really work. Run with us on a Z530M mower and start telling your story. Learn more at johndeere.com/radio.
My little brother's friends have been camped out at our place for 2 days straight. 3. It's because of the Xfinity 10G network. Internet that can handle a house full of screens at once, with basically no interruptions. And it's only getting faster. When I was their age, internet like this was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa.
Please go home.
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. Now through June 21st, new customers can get 200 megabit per second internet with unlimited data on the next generation Xfinity 10G network for just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on Monday night of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Glad to have you guys on board the show tonight. No Phillies, no Sixers tonight. We got some other things to talk about because, in today's world, we don't talk enough about people trying to do good things in the world. The news is always leading off with worse things. So we'll always take some time to talk about someone doing something good. And it's former Rutgers defensive lineman Eric LeGrand. You know his story, overcoming everything he has been through, and now he is doing another great opportunity for people to help support people in need. Eric LeGrand joins me right now here on 97.3 ESPN. Eric, welcome into the show. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Josh. How's everything? How's everything, Josh?
Good. So talk to me about, because obviously, you've been busy for someone who went through what you've gone through. You've been a busy man, right? You got the coffee going, and now you make the transition to whiskey. So, talk to me in the audience about how you went from, coffee to whiskey. Because to me, it's fascinating that for someone as yourself, you're staying busy.
Yeah, I like to joke around and tell people, I'll take care of you in the morning, I'll take care of you in the evening. But that was but no, it's funny. So when I came to the coffee shop, I wanted to find a way to be able to bring people together, through craziness that was going on during the whole pandemic. I wanted to find a way to bring people together. And I know that they like coffee. People need that every single day. So if I could put my little inspiration and motivation towards that, that was my goal. And then when it came to whiskey, this one was a little bit deeper because I wanted to end the stigma that somebody with a disability or a spinal cord injury like myself can't enjoy the finer things in life, like a cocktail or a shot of whiskey or a glass of whiskey, and I feel like whiskey fits who I am. You can't make it overnight. It takes patience. It takes precision and time. And then also it's like tough. It's gritty and something you celebrate life towards. And I'm like, that's who I am. And I wanted to just end that stigma that I want to celebrate life by raising a glass of whiskey. And we have part of the proceeds going back to the Christopher and Dana Reed Foundation.
That's awesome. And for you, you mentioned how it's the process, it's the precision that goes into it. So, for you, talk to me about, your journey with whiskey. Because obviously, if you're putting your name on something, that means you got a lot invested in this.
I sure do. My business partner, Brian Axelrod, who's been in the spirits business for over 20 plus years. I know he's an expert in this area. So I'll never forget when we were coming up with this. I'm like, okay, so how do we get the liquid? He goes, it's not easy to get whiskey, especially now. Like obviously going through the process, I told you it takes time, but it's not easily available. But thank God our partners at Bardstown and Green River Distillery out in Kentucky had some liquid come available. And I remember Brian's like, we got to taste this right away. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Josh, they sent it at 115 proof. I'm thinking I'm about to taste rubbing alcohol. I'm like, this is about to be horrible. So I took a sip and I was like, oh, hold up. That's not so bad. Let me get it some more. Took another sip, and I'm like, that went down smooth. And he goes, yeah, we're even gonna proof it down to 88. So it's gonna be even smoother. And when we did, I'm like, you know what? We got something here. And I'm like, I'm proud to put my name on this liquid. And so many people have taken to it already in a month and a half that it's been available.
Of course, folks can check out more about it, ericlegrandwhiskey.com. Obviously, you're shipping to select states as you do the rollout. It's also available in stores here in New Jersey, Kentucky, as well as New York, and more states to follow. So for you, now that you take care of people in the morning with the coffee, take care of people evening with the whiskey, as an entrepreneur, what inspired you to get involved in this? Because like I said, from the moment, in 2010 that everyone remembers, what happened on the football field at Rutgers to where you are now, it seems like that it's not just been, all these things you're doing, but it all seems like it's a reflection of your own personal growth.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, over the years, it's been 12 and a half years since my injury, but not being afraid to take that leap of faith. Yeah, I was listening to a lot of audiobooks over the pandemic, and one that really stuck out to me was Shoe Dog, Phil Knight, the creator of Nike, and how Nike was, developed it over the years. And when I was born in the 90s, I thought Nike was just Nike. I had no idea how big Puma and Adidas were before them and how Nike had all their struggles and the grind it took that. I'm like, to see where Nike is today and compared to what it was, I'm like, I don't know where my businesses will go, but I'm going to take that leap of faith and have a purpose behind pretty much everything that I do. So I was just like, I'm going to take this challenge, but I'm going to prepare myself. I'm either going to partner up with people that already know the industry, or I'm going to have to take courses and learn more about the certain industries, and then go from there and learn as much as I can, but learn from our customers as well. So just pretty much taking that leap of faith, Josh.
We're talking with Eric LeGrand. Of course, he's got the LeGrand whiskey is now coming out. Also, he's got LeGrand coffee you guys can check out as well. And you can follow him as well on Twitter, Eric LeGrand52. Eric, I know you've also been doing work with Rutgers on the radio side with the football team. What has that experience been like for you as a former player?
Oh, I love it. It's what I look forward to every Saturday. Good to get in a booth with Chris Carlin and our team, Mike Teal, JPO, just be able to break down a game of football. Still feel like you have some sort of bond with it. Yes, I watch it all the time, watch TV, but calling the games and the fans getting excited, you're getting excited with the fans. You feel like you're still a part of the family. Through the ups and downs, the good and the bad, the ugly through the seasons, you still feel like you have some sort of, stake in it. And I do. Obviously, Rutgers is everything who I am, but I look forward to those Saturdays in the fall. That's not work for me. It's literally just something that I get up and I just thoroughly, when that Saturday comes, like, okay, I get to go call a Rutgers football game, and it's just something that I want to continue to do, God willing.
What are your feelings on Greg Schiano 2.0 so far? Obviously, he has breathed massive new life into that program.
Yeah, but this year, it's a big year for Rutgers. You're hoping to get it to a bowl game. Now, this is going into year 4, and Greg Schiano's 2.0 there, and that went from the guys that were there before to learning the new way, the way family trust chop and everything that chop means in a program, and now bringing in new recruits and teaching them. It's a process that doesn't happen overnight as well. It's not easy to turn around a program, but I'm excited what the future has, the recruits that they're getting, and the players that they're developing. And obviously, a big guy that we know is Isaiah Pacheco, who went as a 7th-round pick, who just won the Super Bowl as a rookie. What he was able to develop, he didn't come in with Schiano, but you saw what he developed into as Schiano. He was probably the 2nd or 3rd best rookie running back there was that was drafted. He was all the way to 7th round, so that just goes to show you what's going on the banks of the El Raritan.
Yeah, Millville's own Isaiah Pacheco, about 45 minutes from where I'm sitting right now, is where that high school is. Eric, you played for Greg Schiano the first tenure. Have you noticed anything that's different or new or unique about the Schiano that you played for to what he is now?
Honestly, I think it's adjusting to the culture because the players are different now. I grew up in a little bit of the old school way where it's like you do what you're supposed to do at all times, and that's it. Those no ifs, ands, or buts. But if you're going to be a good coach in this world, you have to learn to adjust, learn to adapt, and you're seeing that. He's like joking around with the players, they're having a good time. Still their coach, still have to get their job done, but you see more of his personality actually coming out with the players compared to when I was there. It was like we had to get done what we had to get done, go to work, and that was it. You didn't get to see that other side of him too much. And I'm actually happy that you get to see that. The players get to be a part of it, make them just feel more comfortable to go out there. And you want to play for him, you really do.
Eric, you mentioned the players and things are different today. One of those things that is different is NIL and the impact of how players today can actually make money off their likeness. How do you feel about how that's all gone? Because, you got your own entrepreneurship right now after the game, but now guys are able to get men and women, are making big opportunities while they're in college.
Absolutely. I mean, I wish I could have ran my own football camp back in the day. I'll tell you that. That would have been a whole lot of fun to go out to some nice dinners. But hey, it's the world that we live in right now. And I actually signed a few players in the beginning to LeGrand Coffee House deals. Nothing crazy where we were just sending them some product and some swag. And they were representing it. And it was all the Rutgers athletes I wanted to do. Soccer. I wanted to do basketball, football. I wanted to, have a nice variety of people that we were representing with LeGrand Coffee House, field hockey, and just show that, that we wanted to support the Rutgers community in the very beginning of this. Obviously, there's some big companies coming in with some big dollars down thrown at these athletes. And obviously, there's a lot different recruiting now, knowing that. So still at the end of the day, you still have to develop a relationship with the guys because money is great, but at the same time, if you don't have a great relationship with your coaches, you're going to be miserable no matter how much money you're making.
You mentioned about the fact that, you wanted to not just give back to the Rutgers community, but you also wanted the right kind of people representing your brand. Obviously, you're not some big corporation, but as someone who is a business owner, how is that process for you to look at an athlete and say, okay, we're going to talk about, you mentioned field hockey, you mentioned soccer, you mentioned basketball. For you, what is that process when you look at an athlete before you get into an NIL deal with them?
Yeah, obviously you want to see obviously their success on the field and how they're doing, but also what type of person they are in their community and what they're doing off the field. And that's a big reason why we signed Bo Melton in the beginning. He was a great star for Rutgers, but when you listen to Bo talk, it's always about his family, his legacy, what he wanted to leave at Rutgers. And I'm like, that's perfect. That for us, we want to build that legacy. You look at, we had Gianna Mancini, who was a field hockey player, and they were absolutely crushing it at the time, man. She's such a great person, and her family owns a small business as well, a pizzeria in East Brunswick. I'm like, see, there's relatable ways that you can work together because you understand that she knows what that grind is like with her family, what she grew up in. So that's another person that we wanted to connect with and get on board. Geo Baker, my God, the leader of NIL, and the reason why it is what it is today was Geo Baker. So we partnered up with him as well. And I'm a part of his business, the Knight Society, helping NIL deals. So that's what we look for when we're looking into a business, just some relations, the legacy, how they are off the field, their grind and their grit. So that's kind of how we picked out our people.
One of the things that doesn't get talked enough about in the sports world is the person's character is important, right? And, for example, here in South Jersey, there's a lot of Eagle fans, and they are so happy with a guy like Jalen Hurts, a guy who is committed to winning and doing his best. And it seems like to me, the current Rutgers wave of athletics is, people like Greg Schiano and others, they're investing in good people as much as they are bringing in great athletes. Is that a fair characterization?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned before, FTC stands for Family Trust Chop. The first word family is forget about me, I love you. That's what I sacrifice for the guy next to me. No one is bigger than the team. We all do this together. We go through the same grind, the same, struggle. Doesn't matter if you're the best player on the team or the worst player on the team. And you got to create great character people because, yes, you get to play those 12, 13 games on the field for 16 minutes, but who are you in the classroom? Who are you in the community are huge roles that go into recruiting. And that's what, if you don't live up to that at Rutgers, you won't be there.
I love that. Eric, a couple more before I let you go. I got to ask you, because I know a lot of people down here, they've listened to Chris Carlin for years on different radio stations. Now he's on ESPN National. For you, what's it like working with a guy like him? Because he's got this, this personality that just explodes through the microphone.
That's my guy right there. I'll tell you what, Chris has been my biggest mentor in the broadcasting field from when we first started doing the games in 2012, when he would come back to my house afterwards and sit down and we would listen to the game over and over, and he would critique me and tell me what I needed to do. And he didn't want to just be like, oh yeah, you're doing a great job. No, he really got laid into me and showed me how I need to be better. And I always respected him for that, where I always, now when I'm working with him on the air and we start getting sidetracked to start talking crazy and he yells at us, I call him Grandpa Chris. I'm like, he's like the old grandpa yelling at us. That's my guy. And I was just with him this past weekend. He come out to support my events, that one of my whiskey appearances. So I got nothing but great things to say about Chris Carlin and what he's meant to my life broadcasting. And yeah, he's in that field. So he's going to have the ups and downs. People are going to like him. Some people are going to hate him. But no matter what, Chris is who he is, and that's what I respect most about her.
Absolutely love that. Eric, before I let you go, let's remind folks, it's ericlegrandwhiskey.com, also LeGrand Whiskey on Twitter. Tell the folks about, because this is not just whiskey, but you're also raising money as well.
Yeah, so my number was 52 in college, so $5.20 from every case that we sell will be going back to the foundation to help us find a cure for paralysis. And hopefully our goal one day is to write the Christopher Dana Reeve Foundation, one of the biggest checks that they've ever received. You'll see where this business is 5, 6, 7 years from now, but that is our goal. And you can, all the people that live in New Jersey, look at the website. We have our store locator on there. We're all throughout the state, North Jersey, Central Jersey, and South Jersey. So if you can come out and show some love and, raise a glass of whiskey just for life in general, I really would appreciate it.
Again, it's ericlegrandwhiskey.com, all one word. You can follow Eric for more of his entrepreneurship on Twitter at ericlegrand52. Eric, I really appreciate you joining me today and talking about everything. It's awesome to see you thriving in the last decade.
Much love to you, John. I do appreciate your time, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Again, it's ericlegrandwhiskey.com. As he mentioned, proceeds are going to help people who have had paralysis. And, Eric is really going out of his way to, grow in life and make the most out of life. And it's awesome to see, I've listened to him for a while when he was here on 97.3 ESPN, him, Chris Carlin, Ray Lucas were doing the Rutgers games. And, I love the fact that Eric has developed such a bright perspective on life. And a couple takeaways from our conversation. I love what he said about Greg Schiano, that Coach Schiano, when he was the old school, used to be like, hey, you do what I say, we're doing it this way. And now he says that Coach Schiano's personality is coming out. And it has to make you wonder, in an age where we're seeing guys leave schools left and right. We saw the news today that 15 players are leaving Colorado after their spring game over the weekend. You see all the movement around college football, how important it is for, Nick Saban has talked about, you got to evolve with the times. You'll be left behind. And it seems like Coach Schiano was do that. And the other thing that Eric brought up is, and I said it to him when he was on, one of the things we don't talk about enough in sports is the quality of people out there. Jalen Hurts said that, it's not about the money. It's about the winning. It takes a village to win. It takes a whole team to win a championship. And, that's a reflection of someone's character. And, for Eric to say, look, if I'm going to have LeGrand coffee, right, with these athletes endorsing it, I want them to be of good quality people. He mentioned Bo Melton, a guy who worked his tail off at Cedar Creek and then went on to Rutgers and had a really fantastic career, despite the fact that Rutgers, the team, wasn't a great team when he was there. The young man himself, Bo Melton, really made the most of his opportunities. Isaiah Pacheco is a guy who went to Rutgers and maximized his potential and won a Super Bowl championship. It just goes to show you that still in today's world, people are rewarded for being good people. Hard work does pay off. And so it's stories like that people like me can appreciate. I'm sure a lot of you out there listening as well appreciate it as well. Again, check out, as Eric said, he's got you covered in the morning, got you covered at night. Of course, it's the LeGrand coffee and LeGrand whiskey. And of course, the proceeds of LeGrand whiskey going to support those who have suffered paralysis. It's an amazing opportunity. And I look forward to seeing what Eric LeGrand continues to do in his life after football. Josh Hennig here on Game Night, 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Check it out on the text boards. On the other side, 609-403-0973 is the text board. And you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free, thanks to First Bank of Seattle.
Wednesday on ESPN Radio. After the Kings win games 1 and 2 at home, the Warriors respond by taking games 3 and 4 in San Francisco.
Bars for the win, missed the shot. Golden State takes game 4.
Now we return to Sacramento for a critical game 5.
We're going home, and we got to take care of business there.
Game 5 of the Kings and Warriors. Coverage begins Wednesday at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Listen to the NBA playoffs exclusively on 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, take me out of my old car. Get
me out of this heap. Approve my credit and cut me some slack. I need a dealer that's watching my back. I gotta make sure it's a great deal. All I have down is my trade. 'Cause I need a great deal on a brand new car.
Stuck in a loaner lease? Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released with 0 down and 2.9% financing for 48 months or no payments for 90 days on every 2023 Kia Forte at Soul in stock. Have a job clearing $350 per week? Matt Blatt Kia wants to approve you today. So bring any trade to Matt Blatt Kia and drive home in a brand new Kia with peace of mind. Matt Blatt Kia's exclusive 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, not all will qualify. 2778 per thousand finance. Go to mattblattkia.com for complete details or call 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer except for licensing, registration, and taxes. Expires 4/30/23. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Natalia, solid dismount, but that little pause is a deduction.
Top tumblers hope to stick the landing with Coach Jasmine.
That aerial sequence still needs work.
She needs more certified athletic trainers to find her balance.
Focus. I'm going to need you for the all-around. Wait, who's spotting the vault?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
At Taco Bell, we like to keep mornings simple because before 11 a.m., you're not down for whatever.
No.
You're not interested in trying new things.
No.
You want a breakfast that's toned down and delicious, like the Breakfast Crunch Wrap with fluffy eggs, sausage, melty cheese, and a crispy hash brown and a grilled tortilla.
I want to eat that.
See? You may not be a morning person, but it's morning, and you're a person. Taco Bell breakfast, served until 11 a.m. At participating Taco Bell stores during breakfast hours only while supplies last.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-658-4848. 800-658-4848. That's 800-658-4848.
Introducing White Claw Premium Vodka. So smooth, they had to reinvent how to talk about it because it's smoother than smooth. It's the world's smoothest vodka. It's the first triple wave filtered vodka, filtered with a pressure equal to 3 30-foot waves to be velvety, refined, and delicious. In a word, smooth. You haven't had vodka like this. No one has. New White Claw Premium Vodka, the world's smoothest vodka. Please drink responsibly. Premium vodka, 40% alcohol by volume, distilled from grain. White Claw Spirits Company, Chicago, Illinois.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Right now, spring is at the Home Depot, and it's time to get growing. Whether you're planting vegetables or herbs, or just sprucing up your indoor space with lush 6-inch Vigoro Tropicals, we have what you need to get your season started. Visit your local Home Depot garden center today and shop our easy-to-grow, bigger, bolder tropicals, like peace lilies, dracaena, or ficus plants. Do your spring at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Product varies by store.
With GMF financing, qualified buyers excludes Corvette.
Ever ask yourself why most people come to Bennett Chevrolet? It's simple. Bennett's selling new Chevys at true GM supplier employee prices. You pay what they pay, not a penny more. Plus, you keep all the rebates. Right now, that's up to $8,000. Now, some dealers are trying to do what we do. They may give you a discount, but then they try to keep some or all of the rebates. Nice try, but not really. Bennett gives you both the GM supplier employee price plus all the rebates. Right now, that's up up to $8,000. And there's available 0% financing. Zero. Looking for used? Bennett will pay you a minimum $10,000 for any piece of you can drag to our lot towards any pre-owned in stock. That's at least $10,000. And we pay more, a lot more, for good trades. And finally, our sales team is fantastic. Really, unlike other dealers, they're paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Come see the difference and find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and Bennett.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Don't forget, no Sixers or Phillies tonight. Maybe an opportunity for you guys to catch up on some of your DVR content. Maybe some of you Netflix, Blue, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Amazon Prime. I know that it's weird because a night like tonight, there's NBA playoffs, there's NHL playoffs on TV. I'm the kind of person who I've become way more invested in certain series than others. I know Billy Schwein and I were talking about this Saturday on the locker room with Billy Schwein. Billy was saying, how he's been hyper invested in, for example, the Islanders Hurricane series and the Rangers Devils series on the hockey side, the basketball side. I'm invested in the Milwaukee Heat series and the Grizzlies Lakers series. So for someone like me, those are the two series that are on tonight. I don't even know how much DVRing I'm going to catch up on. I know I did some last night. I was catching up on some Cobra Kai on Netflix. Over the weekend, I caught up on the Mandalorian. This is plus. I'm actually a little caught up already. I can actually watch the game and I'm thinking about what time of night it is. Maybe a night like tomorrow night, I can check out a little bit. I gotta be honest with you guys. I don't know how you guys feel. For as much of a sports fan as I am, the Nuggets Timberwolves series does not have a lot of truth. Because, I want to see what happens with Boston Atlanta because that's the next. I'm interested in the Clippers Suns series because if the Suns finish off or not tomorrow night. I gotta be honest with you. The Nuggets Timberwolves series, for as much as I like the players like Anthony Edwards and Jamal Murray, the matchup can have a lot of success. On the NHL side, kind of in a similar boat. For as much as I want to watch some of these games, the Devils Rangers series fascinates me, the Tampa Toronto series night fascinates me. Those are both 2-1 series leads. If you would have told me that Carolina was up 3-1 on the Islanders, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not like really fun. I care about this series. I only care about the Kraken versus the Avs and the Kings versus the Oilers because both those series are tight of series. So, it's interesting understand. Capitulate and watch sports tonight, or you hop on the streaming app, watch, no Phillies, no Sixers. Just a thought there. Speaking of Philadelphia, the Aaron Rodgers news has very significant ramifications for the Eagles. Here's why. Jalen Hurts is now unequivocally the best quarterback in the NFL. The Eagles have an opportunity right here and right now to take advantage of the NFC. Because we really think that with Brian Daboll and Joe Shane, President of the New York Giants, do you think the Giants are going to be a team that slaps off again? I don't think so. I think that Giants is going in the right direction. If Ron Rivera can get some better quarterback play, how good for Washington be this year? If the Cowboys sure up some of the holes on their team, what are they going to be moving forward? Do the Cowboys eventually get the reset button and move on to Dak Prescott? The NFC North is basically the Lions to lose this year. Is it not? Like the Lions, to me, they could have and should have made the playoffs last year. They didn't have that horrible start, horrible slump early in the season. The Vikings, I have a lot of questions about that team moving forward. They're all offense. It feels like no defense. The Lions are a team that just needs to get their their defense figured out as well. And then the NFC West, it's Seattle, it's San Francisco, it is the Rams and Cardinals figure it out. So for the Eagles, they are the defending NFC champions, not the East champions, the NFC champions. And with no more Aaron Rodgers, no more Tom Brady, none of the old guard to deal with, it's Jalen Hurts and everybody else in the NFC. So can the Eagles give Jalen Hurts what he needs around him? Because when Jalen Hurts said this today, he had the new press conference, I took a little step back because I kind of wondered, has Jalen Hurts been, did Jalen Hurts and I go to the same football school? Because when Hurts said this, it tells you a lot about his mindset and why he signed the deal that he did.
Well, obviously,
He said that, look at all the great teams. It takes a village. He talked about how important it is to, play on a winning team. That's where his priorities are. This isn't a guy who's worried about the next endorsement deal. He's not a guy worried about if he's going to throw for 4,000 or 5,000 passing yards. He's not a guy who's looking at the stat sheet right after the game. He's a guy who says, I'm here to win. And that's a dangerous weapon the Eagles had, because now you take Aaron Rodgers out of the NFC. You take another threat to the Eagles. Right now, if you had to ask me who are the biggest threats to Philadelphia next season, the number one threat is San Francisco. San Francisco has a better quarterback. I guarantee you that game, while the Eagles still win it, it's not a blowout. That's a down-to-the-wire war in the fourth quarter. If a team like the Cowboys can ever get it figured out, I have no idea what a Mike McCarthy / Brian Schottenheimer offense is going to look like. I feel like that's just like a Voltron character come to life, or like a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers random Megazord combination we never seen before. You got a guy like Mike McCarthy, whose background's the West Coast offense, and Brian Schottenheimer. That's Marty Ball right there. His dad was Marty Schottenheimer, the legend. So, you're talking about two completely different offensive philosophies coming together. I have no idea what that's going to look like for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys offense. But you would think that without Zeke Elliott, it's more opportunities for Tony Pollard to do what he does. And adding Brandon Cooks should definitely open up their offense. Now, if they can draft a guy like Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, that could be a huge get for them in the draft. So to me, the Cowboys are probably the number 2 threat in the NFC to the Eagles. And the number 3 threat is, I got to be honest with you guys, I don't know who it is. Because without Aaron Rodgers, the Packers are probably going to have a 7-10 season. I forgot the 17 games. I almost said 6-10. No, it's 7-10 on the 17 game schedule now. How much better will the Lions be this year? I have no idea. They got that whole betting scandal going on. They have one of their best receivers suspended for the first half of the season, basically. Do the Vikings get their defense improved tonight? How much better is Atlanta's upcoming year? Can Frank Reich make a difference in Carolina? A lot of questions. A lot of questions about the NFC around about. But without Aaron Rodgers, the path for the Eagles back to the Super Bowl gets a little bit easier. And we know in football, there's always a team that's in last place that jumps to first place pretty much every single year. So is that the Rams? Is that the Falcons? Is that the Panthers? Is it the Saints? And speaking of the Saints, you own their first round pick. As I mentioned before, Do the Packers take the assets that they got in the Rutgers deal and trade up into the top 10 to get, let's say, an offensive lineman? Woo! It's going to be a wild week with the NFL Draft Thursday, Friday, and Saturday here on all right here on your home for the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, and the NFL. 97.3 ESPN FM. Thanks to Eric LeGrand for joining the show earlier. He was awesome to talk to. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. I'll catch you tomorrow.
Here's what you missed on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Jalen Hurts, the deal is done with the Eagles. 5-year, $255 million extension.
I think it's a great deal. I think it's a wonderful deal. I think whenever you can make $60 million of real money in the first 3 years of a deal, of real money, that's the real money. It's $60 million a year.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings at 6 on 97.3 ESPN.